What's up guys, Jam here. Today we'll be covering chapter 25 of Arc 5. Before we get into things, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on future chapter summaries and more ReZero content. Chapter 24 ended with Regulus saving Emilia from Sirius. Chapter 25 picks up exactly from where we left off, with Subaru left in shock. The Sin Archbishop of Greed? Subaru couldn't believe that there wasn't even a scratch on Regulus or Emilia. Regulus looks at Emilia and smiles. Even so, it's great that I caught up. After all, my bride nearly turned into ash. Even I, who rarely expresses any particular expectations, do hope that there's someone who can help maintain my bride's humanity. More than that being a matter of merit, I think it's a matter of course. After all, I cannot commit a perversion of sexuality like devoting my love to ashes. Although it's gratifying to see nothing wrong, it seems regrettable that I can't reveal my heroics to my bride. I think that a heroic rescue in a crisis brings two people's hearts to a very special place. Well, after all, the combination of the two is an already established fact and the only question is the matter of timing. Isn't it great? What are you even saying? Regulus looks at Subaru and sighs. He begins complaining how he introduced himself, but Subaru was rude and didn't introduce himself for about a page and a half long. Realizing what Regulus was talking about, Subaru speaks up. Oh sorry, my name is Natsuki Subaru. Yes, that's fine, because giving respect invites respect. Although the conditions for achieving a world that creates both are taken for granted, you don't have to seek the happiness of others. As long as you pursue your happiness, others will correspondingly find happiness as well. Don't get caught up in your desires, just accept your truths and feel satisfied with your everyday needs. That is the peaceful way of life. Subaru was speechless, which didn't please Regulus. Obviously, they're flawed as human beings, and it is not okay for that behavior to remain unconscious. It is of course wrong to impose a burden on those who are discriminated against. Most people have common sense, but why can't they consciously realize that the world is slowly turning on? Even without realizing that they're trampling upon the hidden hearts of others, if they don't become conscious of their twisted, flawed mistakes, then don't their feet just keep trampling and trampling? Subaru, wanting to give an answer, attempts to speak up. All that being said, don't you know? Until Sirius interrupts them. Thanks for the lesson. Burn, scorch, and disappear. Sirius shoots flames towards Regulus. He doesn't move a muscle as both Regulus and Emilia are engulfed by flames. Subaru is speechless and unable to move. Beatrice tried to comfort him. Subaru. I know, but it's okay. Until Regulus twists his wrist and the vortex of flame disappears. I say, to interrupt someone else's conversation like that, how awful are you at reading the situation? If you want to say something, speak up or raise your hand. Do you think I have the presence of mind just to wait for you to speak up? You and I share the title of Archbishop. Since I know that your head is messed up, if you had only made a little mistake, I could have turned a blind eye. Fortunately, there was no harm done. Except you were planning to burn this girl along with me. I would be a little reluctant to say that I will forgive that kind of behavior. Actually, it would be better to say that it would be impossible. Since ancient times, no matter what the story or the morality of the characters, if one's loved ones are hurt, then their anger is inevitable. Because that is a right that everyone has, I am well within my rights to take revenge. Anger, are you angry? Don't make me laugh. A superficial and insignificant man like you can't speak so lightly about anger. Anger is mine, it's what I got from him, and it's more important to me than anything else. Oh, I see. Are you still clinging on to the idiot that kept on risking death? How annoying, how disgusting. That's neither constructive nor rational. Death is the end. This is a matter of course, isn't it? Unwilling to admit even that and clinging to just memories, you really are flawed. If someone who you love dies, find the next one. Rather than yelling about love, 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 exercise the rights that you've been granted. Disrupting that natural cycle, you really are hopeless scum. Regulus mocks Sirius for not getting over Betelgeuse's death and tells her to move on. This angers Sirius as she charges at him. You, who laughed at that person's death, to speak so arrogantly. Disappear, 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 disappear. Turn to ash along with that hateful half-witch. The result was the same, not a single scratch or scar on his body. Regulus sighs as Sirius has lost it entirely. I say, how many times do I need to tell you the same thing? I've thought about it. No matter how many times the same thing is said, some people can't understand. They don't care enough to give enough effort to understand what is said. Is that contempt? So, whether carving what they've learned into their hearts as commandments or doing careful self-examinations or remembering it was food for thought for tomorrow, they don't do any of that. Saying the same thing over and over again is not only blasphemy but is also contempt, which gives negative impacts to both parties. Both their own value and the value of the other party are fundamentally degraded. That's how it is. It's a form of violence that disregards words and actions. Then I thought of it. You damn insect. The witch cult's doctrine goes like this: if one cheek is hit, present the other cheek and ask why your opponent fight the way they do. This shows a valuable lesson of mutual understanding. It's also true that someone whose cheek has been beaten should fight back. That's especially necessary against those who do not know pain. Regulus had a dark smile on his face. Subaru was worried that Regulus would kill Sirius, killing everyone under her control and making everything in vain. Beatrice calls Subaru to reassure him that he can rely on her. Subaru nods and understands that he needs to get Regulus' attention to avoid any sacrifices. Subaru yells at Regulus to get his attention. "Stop touching my Emilia." Then Beatrice used Shamrock to cover Regulus' entire body in black haze, while Subaru uses whip to attack Regulus' neck. There's no response. He's coming. Subaru notices that his whip did not hit its target. This has been messy from the very beginning. You have been stirring up my smooth life with your magic. Could you evaporate off somewhere? Me, no, Marak. Regulus held Emilia with his right hand, and with his empty left hand he suddenly swiped at Subaru. Beatrice immediately gave up performing an attack in favor of casting a gravity-altering spell on Subaru. Subaru understood what Beatrice was trying to do and jumped in the air to avoid Regulus' attack. Subaru was now lighter than a feather. He flew upward, leaving Regulus behind. Why do you want to avoid it? Why wouldn't I avoid it? It's scary. Subaru uses his whip and lands a direct hit on Regulus' head, except it did no damage. What if my bride had been injured? Don't you think it's a matter of course that girls should be treated gently and it's not something that needs to be taught? Don't you even understand this? Don't be stupid. The person I want to treat the most gently in this world is that girl. What's with the bride this, bride that you've been talking about? It's been decided. It's destiny. After all, I made a promise in my dreams. She will connect with me. That's fate, you know. I feel generally satisfied with myself and I don't want anything at all. And although I don't particularly desire anything, I'm not so narrow-minded that I won't accept anything that's been given to me. Especially what fate's given to me. Although most people do not expect this, anything within my reach I want to protect. That would be myself and the people who are important to me. I will protect her, I will welcome her as my bride and love her as she'll love me, and together we'll enjoy a stable life. Therefore, for the sake of that, I won't refrain from exerting the power that I've been given. Then what about her own will? Obviously one of the parties here hasn't consented yet, so getting engaged like this is rash. Are you worried about me? If that's the case, thank you. However, there isn't any problem. Fate is inevitable. In particular, in love or friendship, a person's words cannot be established. If fate told me that she would be my bride, then I am fated to be her groom. This is all something that's already been decided. Something is completely wrong with him, in fact. I've had enough. It's impossible for us to understand each other. It's disgusting to admit that such a horrible person is a rival for love. I see, I understand. You know, I'm sorry to say, but the fate of a lover cannot be shared. I find a bride who admires others to be quite unattractive. Shut it, Emilia is my bride. I won't give her to anyone like you. Oh, this is Emilia, a lovely name, very suitable for lovebirds to softly call, very suitable for this lovable child indeed. You don't even know her name, yet you want her as a bride? What a joke, what made you? Her face. Subaru was pissed. Regulus tilted his head, confused at Subaru's silence. A cute face, isn't that what love is all about? Go to hell. Drop dead, I suppose. Subaru charges at Regulus, which confuses him as Subaru is heading right in his attack range. Why did you come here? I don't really understand. Although it's not necessary, I do hope that you can tell me. I don't lack thoughtfulness after all. I want to understand even withering opponents as well. Thanks for telling me. Bayako. Ready, in fact. Subaru and Beatrice unleashed their trump card on Regulus. EMM. They had launched the magic of absolute defense, EMM, one of the 3 original spells created by Beatrice and Subaru. Subaru's body would be wrapped in a magical field which would allow him to sidestep this plane of existence, nullifying any attack on him, be it physical or magical. Regulus attacks Subaru and is shocked when Subaru stands there unharmed. Subaru then punches Regulus in the face, pushing his head back, but no damage was done. Not ready yet, I suppose. Don't worry, invisible providence. Subaru sends Regulus flying as he begins coughing blood. Subaru, are you okay in fact? Somehow. As for that guy, he's strong but his attacks are kinda flat. Among all those that I've faced so far, it's about the same as Larkin's. Although the effects of EMM have ended, in this case even without magic, Subaru has a chance, so if you rush in, victory could be waiting. I see the light of hope. There's no such thing. I apologize for the misunderstanding. I dallied for longer than I should have, being that you're not so interesting, but that's not the issue here. It's not good that we're having a disagreement. This is a violation of rights. Since I've been hit twice since we started, if I don't hit you, that would be unfair, right? Subaru was shocked to see that Regulus was in front of him unharmed. Before Subaru could comprehend what was going on, the ground between him and Regulus suddenly ignited. They both turned towards Sirius, the only person who would be responsible for the attack. I have found you. Subaru is confused as Sirius is staring at him, her eyes filled with madness. She had completely forgotten her desire to kill Regulus. I've always been waiting for you, only you, my dear Betelgeuse Ramane Kanti. And that sums up chapter 25 of Arc 5. Another great chapter, but Regulus talks way too much. My man has literal essays for dialogue. Getting back on track, I feel bad for Subaru. Imagine having someone like Sirius have a crush on you. The thought of it gives me goosebumps. It's like an overpowered tsundere on crack. I think she might be confusing Subaru for Betelgeuse because Subaru has the witch factor of sloth inside of him. I'm still worried that Subaru's gonna die very soon, since none of them were able to defeat Sirius. How would they even be able to stop another Sin Archbishop along with her? Hopefully Reinhardt or some backup will arrive soon. Let me know if you guys have any theories, predictions, or thoughts about the chapter or going forward in the comment section down below. I'll be reading all of the comments, then responding to and discussing 3 to 5 comments in the next video. Now to get into 3 comments of the last video. The first comment comes in from Andre. They wrote, "Dude, Sirius is not to be taken lightly. She actually did fairly well against Reinhardt in the previous loop, and in the current one she beat Emilia and would have even killed her if it wasn't for Regulus." And speaking of the previous loop, Reinhardt even complimented Sirius' fighting power, which already shows she is way beyond Elsa or Garfield, who also fought Reinhardt. Yeah, Sirius is very strong. I think she's the second strongest Sin Archbishop, the strongest being Capella. It's interesting that Reinhardt complimented her power, but still dunked on her anyway. The second comment comes in from SH. They wrote, "Well, this is the closest we can get to a team up between Sub-Zero and Indiana Jones." And about Regulus, this guy clearly knows how to make an entrance. He literally pulled a superhero landing in front of all of them. Subaru has come a long way. He just held his own against at least 20 people, with Betty's help of course, but right now this doesn't look good for any of them. This chapter was amazing and I look forward to seeing what's going to happen next. I didn't see it that way. Also yeah, Regulus is pretty flashy and he did save Emilia, so he's kind of a hero I guess. And yes, Subaru has come a long way and he's much stronger than he was at the start of the series, but he still doesn't stand a chance against Sin Archbishops. The final comment comes in from Vincius. They wrote, "In a weird way, Regulus was the MVP of that chapter." He actually was. If he didn't step in, Emilia would be burnt toast right now. With that being said, thank you so much for the support as always. If you don't want to miss out on future Arc 5 summaries or more ReZero content, please consider subscribing or hitting the bell. Thank you for watching and I hope you all have a great day.
Oh,